Good day, everyone. I am Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Supervising a Human Error-Free Environment. You can do a lot more than you think. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our presenter for today, Jeanette Colazo. Jeanette Colazo, PhD, is an industrial organizational psychologist with 20 years of experience specializing in engineering psychology and human reliability. She has held positions leading training and human reliability programs in pharmaceutical and medical device manufacturing industry. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Jeanette.
Thank you so much for the introduction and welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today we're going to talk about human error and specifically the role of the supervisor and what can we do. There is a lot of things that we can do that we usually don't, that usually don't have in clear in our mind, but but there is a lot that we can do with that. And that's what we want to start discussing today. Okay. Now the objectives of today are first, we need to understand human limitations. When we understand human limitations and we know those weaknesses, so that's why we need to understand human limitations. We're going to learn what we can do about it. So we are going to talk about the ones that you can do something about it. You can do something about you, the way you supervise, and the factors that need to be present for having effective supervision. And as a supervisor, so we're going to learn some tools that will help in human error reduction. We are going to understand when is it that the act of supervision or the role of the supervisor contributes to error, and learn ways to modify behaviors in your group. When it comes to human error, and actually if you're here, it's because you want to reduce human error. And if you want to reduce human error, it's because you think you have too many. And if you think you have too many, it's because you're measuring them. And if you're measuring them, you have a definition for what constitutes human error in your organization. So I encourage that you identify that definition. So most of the times it's not our fault. We've been put in a situation in which we make mistakes. And that's basically, the overall, background or idea that I want to maintain during the whole webinar. Let's talk about human limitations. We are very good for many things, but there are others in which we are not good. Now, let's talk about the misattribution of blame. Our world forces us to quote unquote multitask. Let's talk about this example. Cars. I have onboard navigation system, cruise controls, blind spot warning device, radio, cell phone, all distractions. Yes, I do have the blind spot warning device. That can help. Okay, so we have to move away from that old vision in which human is the problem, and that in order to explain failure, you must find employees' inaccurate assessments, wrong decisions, or bad judgment. The new vision tells us human error is a symptom of trouble deeper inside a system. They will happen. So we want to move away from the blame cycle. And the reason for this is, and this is important for supervisors, right? Because we are supervising adults. Based in our methodology in human error solutions and the way we work with human error type of situations, these are the categories that we use. Remember, when we work on human error, of course, the most of the things that we do is investigation. All right, so let's start with the definition of supervision. Now, supervision comes from the word supervise, which is to look over. So what are the elements, important elements of supervision during work? Well, presence. That's one thing. Now, I'm not saying lack of absence, because that's not what we are looking for. We're looking for presence, because you can be there and not necessarily there. All right. Also, besides, in the pre-job brief, besides what we were talking about, what could be discussed, it will be also a good idea to have one of these discussed in some of these meetings. And let me explain what this is. These are called the dirty dozen or the dangerous dozen. And this is from the Federal Aviation Administration. So let me explain what this is, the origin of the dirty dozen. Well, this is a concept that was developed by Gordon DuPont in 1993. And it was part from an elementary training program for human performance in maintenance, in airplane maintenance. All right, so that's with that. Now, one portion, another big portion of what you do is to manage people. Okay, so now we went from procedures, human factors, engineering, everything that it's in the chart. Let's take a look at this. So outcomes are by far the stronger influence in behavior and how we build habits. So they are much more powerful than triggers. But many of our process and programs fail because we focus on the instructions, triggers, rules, policies, meetings, procedures, and even though they are necessary to get the right habit set, triggers are nearly useless if the right outcome it's not present to lock in the right habits. What do? Make outcome in favor of good habit. All right. So, well, thank you everyone. And I hope that this all helps. It's a fascinating topic. And I know that no, most people really enjoy it. I know that it could be entertaining, but remember, it's not entertainment. So I encourage you to, to work with these tools, and I really hope that they help because they help me a lot, and that's basically what we want. So thank you so much. I'm going to be disconnecting, but have a great rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaneet. So that does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.